Why do Americans have so much credit card debt? The U.S. is one of the richest countries in the world. So how did millions of Americans end up owing money on credit cards? The answer is more complicated than simply saying Americans spend too much. Here's what's really happening. First, credit cards are incredibly easy to use. You don't need to have the cash in your bank account today. You can buy something now and pay for it later. That sounds convenient. But here's the dangerous part. Credit cards make borrowing money feel almost invisible. You tap your card, you get your food, you buy the clothes, you book the vacation, you pay the bill. And the debt doesn't always feel real until the statement arrives. Now add something else. Prices have increased significantly over the past several years. Groceries, housing, insurance, utilities, cars, restaurants, and other everyday expenses have all become more expensive. When someone's income doesn't keep up with their expenses, they have a few choices. Spend less, earn more, use savings, or borrow. And credit cards are one of the easiest ways to borrow. But credit card debt is different from a normal mortgage. Mortgage rates can be relatively low because the loan is secured by a house. Credit cards are generally unsecured debt. That means lenders are taking more risk. And because of that risk, credit card interest rates can be extremely high. Here's a simple example. Imagine you owe $5,000 on a credit card. If your interest rate is around 25% annually and you make only relatively small payments, a significant amount of your money can go toward interest rather than reducing the balance. That's why credit card debt can become difficult to escape. And then there's another psychological problem: minimum payments. Your credit card statement might say you owe $5,000, but underneath it, you might see a minimum payment that looks much more manageable. Maybe it's a few $100s or less. So someone thinks, I can afford that. But paying only the minimum can keep the debt around for a long time, and interest continues accumulating. Now here's another reason American credit card debt can grow: unexpected expenses. A car breaks down, a medical bill arrives, a child needs something, someone loses their job, their rent increases, their insurance payment goes up. Not everyone has enough emergency savings to absorb a major unexpected expense. So the credit card becomes an emergency fund. And that's where the situation can get really difficult. You're not necessarily using the card because you want a new TV. You might be using it because your car needs a $1,500 repair, and you don't have $1,500 available. Then you have another problem. Debt can compound. You carry the balance. Interest gets added. The next month, you're paying interest on a larger balance. And if you continue using the card while paying it down, the balance can grow even faster. But there's an important point people sometimes miss. Not all credit card users are deeply in debt. Millions of Americans pay their credit card balances in full every month. For those people, credit cards can simply be a convenient payment method, and they may avoid interest on purchases by paying the statement balance in full. The problem is concentrated among people who carry balances from month to month. And there's another factor. Credit cards have become deeply integrated into American life. Online shopping, subscriptions, travel, restaurants, delivery apps, and everyday purchases can all be paid for instantly. You don't have to physically hand over cash. That can make spending feel less painful. So the real story isn't simply Americans are irresponsible with money. It's a combination of easy access to credit, expensive living costs, emergencies, high interest rates, minimum payments, and consumer spending culture. And here's the question. If credit card interest rates can be above 20%, why do people keep using credit cards? Is it poor financial discipline? Or are credit cards becoming a necessity for people whose income isn't keeping up with the cost of living? What do you think? Comment discipline if you think spending habits are the main problem. Comment cost if you think the rising cost of living is the bigger problem.